Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I have been away for like a couple of weeks because I have actually been in Mexico, Playa del Carmen. Literally, I have had the most amazing time. It was 30 to 32 and then I come back and it's -1 and it's like, oh my God, welcome back to the UK, Nicole. So today I thought I'd jump on and film a little video. So I've been back a few days now, about 4 days, so I thought I'd do a video. I want to do a video about my time in Mexico, and I also want to do a video about the review of the hotel. So today I thought I'd jump on and do the review about the hotel. So basically we stayed at the BlueBay Hotel, which is obviously in Playa del Carmen, which is obviously near Cancun in Mexico, and the hotel was absolutely incredible. Like literally I loved it so much. Now I would recommend anyone to stay at this hotel. For the price we paid, it was unbelievable. It's an all-inclusive hotel. They've got like so many bars, so many places to eat. They've got 3 or 4 pools. Well, you see, there was a bit of trouble because the pool that was nearest to our hotel was closed, and we were told when we booked the holiday that it would be closed for the first day of our holiday. So they actually refunded us some money, but it was closed for the whole duration of the holiday. But to be fair, that's not the hotel's fault. That is actually, I'm not going to name our travel company who we travelled with because that would just be wrong. But they were the one that lied to us. It wasn't the hotel. They told us that it would actually be closed for the first day and then on our second day it'd be reopening. And it's just like, it wasn't a problem though, because obviously the only thing that we had to do was we had to walk quite a way. It was sort of like a 10-minute walk to the next, because the resort is so big, to the next pool, which was absolutely fine because they do offer the sort of the shuttle bus, like the golf carts that take you around the hotel. So we was getting them and they were taking us there. But the days that we didn't get the bus, we were doing so much walking because this resort is so big. It's like a massive, great big resort. It's sort of set in the jungle, and it's like you do so much walking because obviously, like me and Steve, we thought, because obviously I went with Steve, I went with his family, his 2 brothers and his mum and dad, so there was the 6 of us. We thought we did a lot of walking when we're working and things. We do no walking. We practically sit on the bed all day long compared to the walking that we was doing there. Our backs of our legs were killing. It was like literally was doing so much walking. Like I was doing like sort of, to walk from our hotel room to the pool and back, like in a day I was doing like 15,000 steps. And when you think about when you're on holiday and you're just staying at the resort, 15,000 steps is a hell of a lot. You know, it may not be a lot if you're working and stuff, but when you're meant to be relaxing, that's a hell of a lot of steps. But yeah, so we sort of got over the pool problem with that, because literally our hotel was here and the pool was literally, you could see the pool from our hotel room. That's how close it was. Now from our balcony we had the best view because we sort of looked out from the balcony and we just saw like trees, and there was a pathway, and obviously there was people underneath and there was grass. And obviously if any of you have ever been to Mexico, you will know an animal called a coati, or I believe they're called a coati Monday. Oh my God, they were literally adorable. They were everywhere. Like before, because you know I'm a massive animal lover, I absolutely adore animals. So before we went there, I thought I will just Google to see what wildlife they have, and I was shocked at the amount of wildlife that they have. Obviously they have the coatis, they have raccoons, they have snakes, they have lizards, iguanas, they have everything. They have like these weird little, well, Steve was calling them guinea pigs, but they're not guinea pigs. I can't remember what they're called. I'll try and see if I took a picture and attach it in, and I'll write the name as well, but I can't remember what they're called. But I actually Googled them and it said that they're actually quite rare to see, and I'm like, oh my God, we've been seeing them every single day. So if you love wildlife, stay at the BlueBay Resort in Playa del Carmen because you see wildlife all the time. Stunning birds, like literally, we were sitting on the balcony and this sort of blue, black / green coloured bird just sort of jumped on the balcony, and I was like, oh my God, where did that come from? And also one thing that I did notice was there was all like vultures like circling the skies, and the coatis would be sort of around your feet and everything, and the minute that they are sort of were in the air. The coatis ran, so obviously they're sort of their top food source. But yeah, no, the wildlife was amazing. Obviously I've got loads of videos of coatis, so I'm just going to post them in this video now. Hello. Hello. So they're the coatis. Oh my god, and the raccoons, they are so adorable. And obviously the coatis, what they'd do is you'd literally go to the bar. Good job it's all inclusive because it would cost you a fortune, but you'd get your drink and you'd lay back on the sun lounge and you'd put it on the floor, and within, like, you'd sort of be laying there and then they'd knock it over and they'd drink it themselves. And I was like, oh my god, you know, sometimes I add alcohol, but you've got no control over that. Like, literally, even like the empty cups, you'd put them on the floor and they'd knock them over. And it's like, oh my god. And it's like, they say not to feed them, but I even caught some staff members feeding them. Like, there was a few members of the staff, like, it was coming towards the end of, like, I think it was breakfast, and the staff were feeding them. But you have to be so careful because these animals do have rabies. And I know it sounds stupid, but I always wanted to stroke one the whole time we was there. And it was the last day, and me and Steve were laying on the sun loungers, and I thought, I'm just going to go for it. And I stroked the mum, and she was lovely. She just sort of continued eating the plants that they were eating, and I thought, I'm going to go for the baby and I'm just going to stroke it. And I stroked it, and it was so lovely. And they were so friendly because we got chatting to some couple that were there, and they go to that hotel a lot, and they said that she takes food for them. Like, she actively buys food outside of the hotel and feeds them, and she feeds them by hand as well. And I'm like, I ain't that brave. I don't want to be going to get a rabies vaccine. Thank you very much. But as you just saw in the video, they are so adorable and I love them so much, and they are beautiful. As I said, the sad thing is obviously now the only next time we see a coati will be in a zoo, and it's like, we'll have to go back to Mexico again just to see the coatis, but they were incredible. But yeah, so the hotel, getting back to the hotel. See, I always go off track when it comes to animals because I adore them. The hotel I thought was fantastic. It was so clean. Our room was absolutely lovely. The bathroom was incredible. Like, literally, I walked in there and was like, oh my god, this bathroom is stunning. Sort of, obviously when we knew that there was a problem with the swimming pool being closed, and sort of Steve's mum sort of said, well, you know, complained about it, and they said, well, she said, can we have like a free upgrade? And they said, well, you're in the top rooms, so you can't have an upgrade. Personally, again, this is not the hotel's fault, this is the travel company. I don't think that we had the top rooms, to be fair, because people were saying that the top rooms are the ones with your own private swimming pool outside, which, to be fair, I personally don't think I would have wanted that, because obviously the rooms are on the lower floor and you've got people constantly walking by, and also people did have a problem with the coatis because you couldn't leave your door open because they'd get into the room. We had a situation where there was a couple, they took cakes back to their room and they were sort of sitting around on the chairs outside their patio doors, and the coatis actually got in and they literally ransacked the room and all the staff had to try and get them out. So personally, I wouldn't want a lower floor room because of that problem, because wildlife getting in. But then saying that, sort of people that had trees next door to their that leant over their balcony, the coatis were climbing up and getting in. So I personally request sort of a room that's not near any trees or up high, like no lower rooms, because obviously the animals can get in. But yeah, no, I did think that the hotel was lovely. The food, getting onto the food, I'm a fussy eater. I'm going to hold my hands up and say I'm nothing but a fussy eater. See, what there was like, I think about 6 restaurants. So like, there was be one for the Italian, the one for seafood, the one for French food, the one for the buffet. Well, there was 2 buffets. What else was there? I can't think what other food there was now. And like, obviously you could book the restaurant. They did say that you can only have, because when you book the restaurant, you have to book the restaurant. They ask for your room number, and they did say that you can only book, you could only go to the restaurant once in your stay. And it's like, well, I'm not being funny. This is like an sort of all you can eat, all inclusive hotel. Why can you only go to the restaurants once? And we was chatting to a couple of staff members, and they said, oh, it's fine. They said, you know, just book the restaurants you want when you want to go, and they will allow you to go. So we did the Italian. The best restaurant I went to was the Italian. The pizza throughout the day at the buffet, I have to say, I'm sorry, but it was disgusting. It literally was like a bit of leather. But the pizza in the Italian restaurant was absolutely beautiful. It was just perfect. It was lovely, and it really was nice. I think the Italian was the best. Sort of, we went to the steak restaurant. I personally didn't like it. I know Steve's family didn't like it. The only person that really liked it was Steve's brother. The steak was a bit like rubber. It was a bit like you cutting into it, and it's like sort of thing. I know it sounds horrible, but, and also I think that the reason why a lot of us didn't like the food is because, I know it sounds stupid, but we used to English food, and it was nothing like English food. It was like, like obviously they've got different ingredients, so it's not going to be like English food. And that's what I sort of found getting onto the alcohol, was the portions were so strong. Like literally you'd ask for like, I don't know, like a pink gin and lemonade, and they would be pouring the gin, and you think in a minute they're going to stop pouring that, and they don't. And like they're pouring it at the same time as the lemonade, and I'm like, oh my God. And it literally was, oh, I tell you what, it felt like it could strip paint. It was like when you swallowed it, you could feel it go down your insides, and it really put me off. And to be fair, I wish that I would have bought like a bottle of pink gin, to be fair, because it would have been a lot better. So the alcohol was so strong. I remember there was one night, because they have like a VIP bar, and sort of every other night it's open for anyone. Like they'd have a function one night, then it's open, then another function, then it's open. And sometimes we did go in the VIP bar, and it got to a point, and it was a really good bar, because it was obviously on the beach, because there's a beach there, and they've got all nice seats and music playing. And it got to one point where the barman would pour the drinks literally straight into your mouth. So you'd ask for like a rum, and he'd literally pour the rum into your mouth with no Coke or anything. And I was like, oh my God, I was like, oh, that is too much for me. Like, I'm not the biggest drinker in the world, I'll tell you that now. But literally, even like Steve's family were like, this is too much. And it was like, the portions were just unbelievable. So if you're like a massive drinker, I really would recommend this hotel. But yeah, sort of, because you'd ask them, you'd say to them like, I don't want loads of alcohol in this drink, and they'd like narrow it down, but they'd, instead of sort of maybe doing a single, that'd still be a double. And it's like, this is still too strong, because obviously, you know, there's different laws in Mexico to what there is in the UK, and it was a quite a bit too much for me at some points. There was a few times where sort of I was going back to the room because I felt a bit queasy, shall we say. One sort of shot that they made, which no one knows in the UK because we've asked for it, is called a Scooby-Doo. So don't ask me what's in it, but it was incredible and I loved it. And also one thing that was absolutely fantastic, don't ask me what the drink was called because I haven't got a clue. When we was in, I think it was the French restaurant, and the waiters, they're all so lovely. They sort of come over and he said, oh, I want to show you a trick. So he got these 2 like sort of silver gravy boats, and he poured this alcohol into it, and he lit it, and he's going all like this. I'm going to attach the video, and he's going like this, and it was just the most amazing display. And like people have said that we've shown since we've been home, they had lights on and you could see it that clear. Can you imagine what that'd be like at night? So I'm going to attach the video now.
Wow. It's really cool.
That's probably
Yeah, you sent it to us like that. It's amazing, isn't it? Great, isn't it?
It's up for a party trick.
I know, it's brilliant, isn't it? Whoa, wow. Lovely, isn't it? Goodness me.
So as you can see, it was literally, it was so fantastic. And obviously he was like, that drink is so expensive in their money. I know we went to Playa Del Carmen sort of town, and Steve's brother wanted a bottle, and I think that it was the proper bottle that they had. You don't get it in like the pyramid bottle like you've just seen. That's a bottle that they've put it in. You get it in sort of this long blue bottle, and I think it was something stupid like $100 and something they wanted in one shop. And then they said, oh, we have this one that's sort of similar for like $80, and then we managed to get them down to $60, so we bought that. But yeah, no, so it was a very expensive drink. And I know that they were sort of, Ben, Steve's brother, and Steve's dad were walking around the resort, and there was a couple of workers there. They were pushing like a wheelbarrow, and it was full of alcohol, and they said, oh, you know, what is this? And it was like all the pyramid bottles, and they were like, oh, no, much to say, don't ask what it is. And well, Ben was like, well, you know, this is an all-inclusive hotel, so we're allowed to have it. And they didn't want to say what it was, but they think that it was actually that drink. So yeah, getting on to the staff, so that all the staff was so friendly. Literally, they couldn't do enough for you. But in that sort of part of the world, they heavily rely on tips to sort of make up their wage. So everything they wanted tips for. Like when we arrived at the airport, there was this man that had our flying company's uniform on, the people that were, but whether he worked for them, we don't know. And he was like, anything for me, anything for me. And we was like, well, you've took the case from this side of the room to that side of the room, so you're not getting a lot. And we sort of heard stories of like people going to restaurants like outside the complex, and like they tip them and they're like, that's not enough. And I'm like, oh my word, because obviously we're British, and like tipping, we only tip sort of if someone's sort of give an excellent service, but there they just expect it for anything really. And like Steve's mum was like, oh, should we tip them for that? And Steve's dad was like, well, no, because they've just literally poured us a drink, you know what I mean? They don't need tipping. And sort of one thing that they did sort of really want tips for is, obviously it's an all-inclusive hotel, so cocktails come under that, but they did sort of say if you want a cocktail that they wanted a tip. Not all of the staff wanted that, sort of, well, of course they all wanted it, but not all the staff sort of asked for that. I know in a couple of the bars they sort of said, you know, if we're going to make you a cocktail, we do want a tip. And it was a bit like, I don't really want to do that sort of thing, because you've just done your job. But it's sort of the only time that sort of I felt as though that we needed to tip was when, because obviously it was there for Steve's birthday, and we're sitting there all around this great big table, and sort of Steve's brother said, you know, it's Steve's birthday. They come over, they brought him, they had this like little cake, and they put a candle in it, they put a sombrero on his head, and they were all dancing. And I thought, yeah, I thought these two that have organised this, because Steve's brother let him know that it was his birthday before, they've sort of been working on this, they need a tip, because, you know, they've gone out of their way to give him such an amazing birthday, so we all give them sort of quite a big tip. But sort of one thing that I did notice there is they literally are so poor, and it's so sad to see. I got chatting to a girl that was there. She lives in Mexico. She lives 2 hours away from the hotel, but sort of she went there as like a little holiday with her nan. And she was saying how much she earned, and it equivalates, she works in a dog and cat's home, and it equivalates to sort of like £8 a day in our money. £8 a day. That is sort of like nearly the minimum wage an hour, and she's earning that, and she's like, oh, I'm rich. And I'm like, she's like, your class is rich and you're on that equivalent of £8 a day. That is absolutely unbelievable. Like, she was so happy, and it's like, it really sort of did make me think, you know, that I should be grateful for what I've got, because like, and she said that it's her dream to come to London, and she said that eventually she will come to London, but she said, I need to save, and she said she's been saving up for nearly a year just to go to the BlueBay where we stayed for like a week. And it's like, my word, like, sort of, we just paid for that like at the click of a finger, and you've been saving up for a year just to go for there a week. And it was absolutely unbelievable. And obviously, because we've gone so close to Christmas, it was lovely, because we'd only been there like 2 days, and they like set the Christmas decorations up. So they had a few up. They had a few like sort of baubles everywhere and all along the floor and all like that, and up around the hotel. And then the last day before we went home, they sort of set it up even more, and it was absolutely lovely to see them set up for Christmas. And it was so weird being in sort of them sort of temperatures where it's absolutely baking hot. And Christmas decorations, I was like, I should be used to this, because a few years ago I went to Florida, and I went there, I think we landed back 2 weeks before Christmas, and it was so weird to be in such like unbearable heat, and you've got Christmas songs on, and it's like, wow. And you get home and you've got your Christmas decorations up, because obviously my mum, being the Christmas nutter that she is, she had them up before. And it was just like, and it was like this here, because obviously we arrived back, when did we arrive back? The 2nd. And obviously my mum puts the decorations up on, well, they have to go up the 1st, but she put them up the day before that, because she didn't want to miss out on the one day. They always go up the Saturday. So it was weird coming home and seeing Christmas trees and walking through the airport and there's Christmas music blaring out. But yeah, so one thing, sort of transfers, like what we do is in the reception of the hotel, they had like a rep sort of sitting there that you could book days out with. One thing that I would say to anybody that's going to Mexico, to Cancun, if you want to book sort of days out, is to be prepared to spend a hell of a lot of money. Sort of every single day out sort of was $100. And I know that they have sort of, you can pay in pesos or dollars. I personally, if you can get them out, I'd get loads of pesos out, because it is so much more cheaper. We was unfortunate and we paid in dollars, and it cost a bomb. Literally, like, all the days out they wanted, it was like, that's $100. We went to the monkey sanctuary, monkey park, whatever it's called, and that was $75 each, plus, was it 20 each transfers? So that's a hell of a lot of money for a 2-hour day out. Like, literally, I thought, because what I thought was, I thought we'd be there, all day, you know, it's quite good. And it was like, was there 2 hours? And then it was like, well, the coach is picking us up to take us home. So I would, if anybody said, we're going to Mexico, I'd say be prepared to spend a hell of a lot of money. Because to be fair, the hotel for 2 weeks, we paid, was it 1,200 and something each? Which, at first I was like, oh my word, that's expensive. But when you saw the hotel, this is like a 4.5/5-star hotel. And literally, you'd be laying on a sun lounger and one of the staff would come around and ask you if you want a drink, when I've never had that on any of my other holidays. So you're actually sort of getting good value for money. So I would recommend the BlueBay. As I said, yeah, they literally, you're laying there on a sun lounger and they come around and ask you if you want a drink, and they just can't do enough for you. And it's like, it's unbelievable. And with them little Kuwatis around, you definitely need to have more than one drink, because they just knock them over and they just seal them, sort of thing. And they also go in your bags as well, so make sure you keep an eye on your bag, because one woman had some nuts in her bag, and they literally opened her bag and stole them out of there. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, and then we was having lunch once and I had my bag on the floor and they're like sitting on my bag, and I'm like, Steve, I don't want to go in my bag. I've got a bottle of Coke in there. I don't want them going in my bag. I wouldn't. So obviously a lot of the hotels in Cancun, Mexico are sort of set in the rainforest sort of thing. So they have these, so when you go lead up to the hotel, there's obviously the beautiful sort of front of the entrance, and then obviously you go through the security like on the bus, and then you have to go this great big long driveway that takes like over 5 minutes to drive down. Then you obviously get to the front of the reception. So sort of, I personally didn't try it. I don't know anybody that did try it. If you wanted to sort of walk out the complex, I personally think the security would stop you, because one thing, I didn't feel safe out of the complex. because there's sort of people that I wouldn't want to meet, sort of thing. And that sounds quite snobby, but I wouldn't want to meet. There's signs up everywhere saying like big cats, wild big cats roaming free. It's not somewhere that you could sort of walk. You're walking out on a main road with people that drive like utter idiots. It's absolutely unbelievable the way they drive, sort of cutting in front. I was an absolute wreck on these coach days out because people were just like, honestly, unbelievable the way they drove. So yes, so sort of if you want to leave, like, I would have liked to have sort of gone for dinner, like in Playa Del Carmen, in a nice restaurant. But personally, I wouldn't want to be there at night. A lot of people said that they wouldn't want to be at Playa Del Carmen at night. And a taxi fare there would have been so much. Like literally just to drive down, like the drive would have cost you a hell of all money. But yeah, so sort of the coach for the days out was sort of around $20. I know some of them were $20 for two, some of them were $20 each. So yeah, so it is a lot of money. So personally, I would stay in the complex for food. So yeah, overall, I had an absolutely fantastic time staying at the BlueBay Hotel. If you stayed at the BlueBay Hotel, let me know your thoughts in the comments section below this video. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. And please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, because I am going to be doing that video where I talk about my time in Mexico and also show you some pictures and some videos and things from the day. I wanted to do a daily vlog there, but again, it went out the window because, to be fair, it was sort of so hectic and there was so much to do, and I was like, oh my god, I can't film this. So yeah, I'm going to sort of sit down, show you pictures and videos, go through my time in Mexico, and just, yeah, so overall it's a fantastic holiday, a holiday of a lifetime, a holiday I'm never going to forget, and we all thoroughly enjoyed it. So yeah, so let me know if you stayed there, or let me know if you have any questions, if you're thinking about staying at the BlueBay Resort or going to Mexico and you want to know something. I'll try my best to answer your questions, so just post them down below and I'm happy to help. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope I haven't bored you too much, and I'm going to be back making more videos. I'm going to hopefully film later on this week. So yeah, so I'll be uploading that next week. But thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.